Have you ever made more money, but still felt poor inside? You hit a salary milestone, your bank account looks healthier than ever, and yet something inside still feels anxious, still feels empty, still feels out of control. I've been there, I know that feeling, and I know many of you have too. You work harder, you chase the next promotion, you save, you spend, you hustle, day in and day out, but peace, clarity, they never show up on the paycheck. Let me tell you a story. A young man, 27, finally lands a job at the company of his dreams. The salary is double what he made before. He upgrades his apartment, buys a better phone, takes his parents out for dinner. And every month, as the 28th rolls around, he still finds himself biting his nails over bills, wondering if the money will stretch. Worse than that, he finds himself wondering why he feels no more free than before. Jim Rohn once said, "Financial freedom is not having more money, it's having fewer worries." Let that sink in. Not more money, fewer worries. Because here's the truth. You can earn 6 figures and still be broke inside. You can build wealth and never feel rich. You can own more, but if your time, your mind, and your peace are enslaved, then what kind of freedom is that? Jim Rohn didn't teach people how to chase cash. He taught them how to live well, how to live free from the inside out. He believed financial freedom had nothing to do with luck, inheritance, or secret formulas. It had everything to do with your philosophy, your beliefs about time, about money, about who you become when no one is watching. So today, we're not here to talk about how to make more. We're here to explore something deeper, how to design a life where less worry is the real wealth. Because the truth is, financial freedom isn't a number, it's a rhythm, a way of thinking, a choice you make every single day. In the next few moments, we'll walk through a new way of seeing money, based not on fear, but on freedom, not on survival, but on design. And by the end, you won't just be inspired, you'll be equipped. Because Jim Rohn didn't just give us wisdom, he gave us a way out. So let me ask you this, not as a motivational speaker, but as a fellow human being. What if your next chapter had less chasing and more choosing? What if wealth isn't what you add to your account, but what you subtract from your fear? Let's begin. Let's build a new kind of freedom, one that doesn't need a raise, a bonus, or a market shift. Just a shift in how you think. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you checked your bank account and felt at peace? Not happy because the number was high, not relieved because a paycheck just came in, but genuinely calm because you knew you were in control. For most people, that moment has never really happened. You see, we live in a world where money isn't just currency, it's pressure, it's fear, it's performance. You're taught to chase it, then fear losing it, then judge yourself for not having enough of it. We call this a financial system, but for millions, it feels more like a financial prison. Let's be honest, what does financial life look like for most people today? They wake up early, rush to work, sit in traffic, spend 8, 9, 10 hours exchanging their time for just enough money to survive. Then they go home, exhausted, open the bills, and feel a familiar tightness in their chest. Rent, utilities, loans, groceries. Maybe there's something left. And that's for those with stable jobs. What about freelancers? Small business owners? Those working 2 or 3 jobs? The truth is, modern life is expensive, and financial fear is everywhere. But here's the twist. More money often doesn't solve the problem. Let me say that again. More money doesn't always lead to more freedom. Why? Because money doesn't erase the fear. It amplifies the mindset. If you think money is the answer to insecurity, then every dollar becomes a test of your worth. Jim Rohn said it best: financial freedom is not a number, it's a mindset. Let's break this down. Most people think, I just need to make $5,000 a month, then I'll feel safe. Then they make $5,000, and now they need $7,000, then $10,000, then a house, then a car, then a second income stream. But peace, still missing. Because financial fear isn't just about your income, it's about how you think, how you spend, how you define enough. Let me give you an example. Two people earn the same salary. One of them budgets, tracks, reflects, and saves. The other reacts, spends emotionally, and avoids their statements. Same job, same paycheck, but one lives with clarity and the other with chaos. Now multiply this pattern across decades. Can you see why people retire with regret? Because we never learned how to be mentally free around money. We only learned how to earn and then spend. Let's talk about the pressure, the social pressure. You open Instagram, see someone traveling to Bali, new clothes, a luxury apartment, passive income from crypto or drop shipping, and suddenly you feel behind. Even if you were grateful 5 minutes ago, now you feel ashamed of what you have. You ask yourself, why am I working so hard but still feel broke? This is not just an economic problem, it's a spiritual one. Jim Rohn taught that true wealth starts in your values, not your valuables. Because if you don't know what you value, the world will sell you what they value. And that's what's happening now. We work long hours, we sacrifice our health, our creativity, our presence with family, to chase a number we didn't even define ourselves. And when we do reach that number, we feel more empty than ever. You see, this is the real tragedy of modern finance. It teaches you to succeed externally, but never teaches you how to feel safe internally. So let me ask you something now. What if you've been measuring the wrong kind of freedom? What if freedom is not having it all, but knowing what matters and living in alignment with it? What if true wealth is waking up without dread, falling asleep without fear, and making choices without anxiety? Because that's what Jim Rohn believed. That financial freedom is not about having more. It's about needing less, wisely. And here's the good news. You don't need to wait for a raise, a promotion, or a windfall. You can start shifting your relationship with money right now. By changing how you think, by tracking where your money flows and asking why, by choosing intention over impulse, by choosing clarity over chaos. You're not failing, you're just stuck in a system that never taught you how to be free. So this isn't your fault, but it is your responsibility. Because no one can give you financial freedom. You must build it, one clear thought, one small action at a time. Jim Rohn would tell you this: for things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. So before we go into tools, strategies, and habits, pause for a moment. Look not at your wallet, but at your mindset. Because maybe the biggest breakthrough isn't in your income, but in your definition of what it means to be free. So far, we've talked about the pain, the pressure, the fear, the never-ending chase for more. But now, let's talk about the path out. Because Jim Rohn didn't just name the problem, he built a roadmap, a framework for real, internal, sustainable financial freedom. He called them pillars. I call them truths. So let's walk through them, one by one. Let's rebuild your mindset. Let's rebuild your life. Pillar 1, mindset. First, Jiao Kao Trong Tu Dui. Don't chase money. Attract it by who you become. Jim believed that wealth isn't something you run toward, it's something you pull in, by becoming the kind of person who deserves it. That means your values, your habits, your mindset must align with what you say you want. He often said, "For things to change, you have to change." Not your bank, not your boss, not your luck, you. Financial freedom begins in the mind, because if your thoughts are poor, your results will follow. If you believe money is scarce, you'll live in fear. If you believe money is evil, you'll unconsciously sabotage abundance. So the first pillar is simple. Audit your beliefs. Write them down. Question them. Redefine them. Because before you earn more, you must think more wisely. Pillar 2. Invest in yourself. Fatrian bantan la kwansin le kaunyat. Formal education. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. This quote changed everything for me because it shifted the power. No more waiting for school to teach me. No more blaming the system. No more wishing someone else would show up. I had to show up for myself. Jim read, journaled, attended seminars. He spent hours reflecting, learning, growing. Why? Because he knew that who you become is more valuable than what you own. And in today's world, you have no excuse. Books are cheap. Podcasts are free. Courses are one click away. So stop saying I'm not good with money. Start saying I'm learning how to be excellent with money. Start small. 1 page a day, 1 quote at a time, 1 new question each week. Because investing in yourself is the only investment you control 100%. Pillar 3. Multiple streams of income. Dung fu tuok mot ngun thu. Never depend on a single source of income. Create options. Create freedom. Jim warned that relying on just one paycheck is like building your future on sand. Because if that one stream dries up, you drown. Now, this doesn't mean you need to start 5 businesses overnight, but it does mean this. Start looking at your time as capital. Can you freelance 2 hours a week? Can you sell something you know? Can you write, teach, build? Money loves movement, so move. Use your weekends, use your nights. Don't aim for massive profit, aim for proof of possibility. Even just $50 made from your skills will spark belief, and belief is the root of all change. Pilar vor, time was wealth. Time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you cannot get more time. This is the pillar people ignore, but it may be the most powerful. Because you can always make back money, but you'll never relive this hour. So how are you spending your time? Are you scrolling aimlessly? Are you always reacting? Are you saying yes to everyone but yourself? Jim taught that productivity is not doing more, it's doing what matters most. So reclaim your time. Use calendars, use silence, wake up earlier, say no to what drains you, because the richer your time, the richer your life. Pillar 5. Simplify. Toigyan hua chi teo and tudui dai han. Learn to live well below your means, not to impress, but to breathe. This one is hard because we live in a culture of more stuff, more upgrades, more flex. But Jim believed that the most powerful financial decision you'll ever make is to spend less than you earn. Not just once, but consistently. Simplicity is a superpower. If your life is too loud, you can't hear your values. If your schedule is too packed, you can't feel your priorities. Cut the noise. Cut the subscriptions. Cut the comparison. Because peace is the ultimate form of wealth. Jim's summary: freedom is a design. Let's recap. Change your mindset, invest in yourself, build multiple streams, protect your time, live below your means. This is not a theory, it's a design. And you are the architect. Jim Rohn's entire philosophy points to this. Emphasis level strong. Success is not something you pursue. It is something you attract by the person you become. You are not here to chase money. You're here to master yourself. And when you do, money stops being a monster. It becomes a mirror. So if you're ready, start today. Not with a big leap, but with a new thought, a new decision, a new belief. Because freedom doesn't come in a check, it comes in a shift. A shift in who you are and who you're willing to become. Let's begin with something simple, but powerful. Not budgeting, not saving, not investing. But this, level strong, your definition. Because no matter how many books you read, videos you watch, courses you take, if you never define what financial freedom means to you, you'll keep chasing someone else's version of success. So here's your first action. Rewrite your definition of financial freedom. Not the one your parents gave you, not the one society expects, not the Instagram highlight reel. Point 5, your own. Why this matters. Let me tell you why this is the foundation. Because clarity is power. If you don't know what freedom means to you, how will you ever recognize it when you get there? You'll just keep moving the goalpost. First, you want $1,000 saved, then it becomes $10,000, then $100,000, then a second home, then early retirement. And still you're not free, because you're chasing numbers, not purpose. Jim Rohn taught this clearly. Financial freedom is not a number, it's a mindset, a rhythm, a decision. And that decision starts with your definition. Let's get practical right now. I want you to take out a notebook, or your phone, or just close your eyes and imagine. Ask yourself this: what does financial freedom look like in my life? Is it waking up without an alarm clock? Is it sipping coffee slowly because you're not rushing to work? Is it knowing your bills are paid and your body feels light because you're not carrying anxiety? Is it time to create? Time to rest? Time to be with people you love? Or maybe it's the moment when you realize you no longer owe anyone your peace in exchange for a paycheck. A better definition. Here's what mine looks like. It may not be yours, but it might inspire you to write your own. To me, financial freedom is waking up with options. It's not about owning everything, but needing very little. It's knowing I can pay for what matters and walk away from what doesn't. It's having time to write, to reflect, to grow, and to help others do the same. It's not about passive income, it's about intentional energy. And you, what's yours? Take a breath, listen in. You already know. Don't overthink it. This isn't an essay, this isn't a resume, this isn't for anyone else. It's for you and your future self. Try this simple format. To me, financial freedom is write one sentence, then another, until it feels true. No edits, no judgment, just honesty. When you're done, read it aloud, because that definition will become your compass. Why this changes everything. When you know your definition, you stop comparing. You stop copying, you start designing. You realize that freedom might mean earning less, but stressing less. Spending more time, not more money. Feeling richer with fewer things. Jim Rohn said, emphasis level, the ultimate reason for setting goals is to become the person it takes to achieve them. And your definition of freedom will shape that person. Because when you know what you're aiming for, you act differently. You say no more often. You spend with awareness. You work with clarity. You rest without guilt. That's the beginning of true wealth. Not the dollar, but the direction. A final thought. So, if you take nothing else from this video, take this. This level strong. Define your freedom. On your terms. Before the world defines it for you. Because once you name it, you can build it. You'll know where to spend your time, where to focus your money, what to walk away from, and what to walk toward. This is your life, your rhythm, your freedom, and it begins with one sentence. So pick up the pen and write it now. Let's talk about something very practical, something small but powerful. I want you, for just 7 days, to track your money, every single day. Not forever, not perfectly, just honestly. Why? Because awareness is the first step to control, the invisible leak. Imagine a beautiful house, strong foundation, modern design. Everything looks perfect until the water bill arrives. Huge, unexplainable. And when the plumber comes, they find dozens of tiny leaks. This is your financial life. You're working hard, you're earning consistently, you're planning for the future, but money seems to disappear every month. Not because you're bad with money, not because you're irresponsible, but because you've never shined a light on the leaks. Why 7 days? Because 7 days is enough to see patterns, to notice habits, to wake up to behaviors you didn't even know you had. We're not talking about a budget here. This isn't about judging your past. This is about observing the present, like a scientist, like an explorer. Like Jim Rohn said, what gets measured gets better. Here's how it works. Every day, for 7 days, you write down everything you spend. Everything. The coffee, the rideshare, the snack, the streaming subscription, the impulsive purchase, the groceries, the gifts, the donations, the tips. Write it down, right after you spend it, or log it each night. Use a journal, use your notes app, use sticky notes, whatever feels natural. The goal isn't to restrict, it's to see. No judging, just observing. This is important. You're not allowed to criticize yourself. If you bought 3 lattes today, just write it. If you forgot to track yesterday, start again today. This isn't a punishment. It's a mirror. Jim Rohn said, "Don't let your learning lead to knowledge, let it lead to action." And action begins with awareness. When you see what's really going on, you'll make better decisions naturally. What you'll discover after 3 to 4 days, you'll notice things. Maybe it's how often you reach for your phone when you're bored and start browsing shopping apps. Maybe it's that food delivery has quietly replaced home-cooked meals. Maybe it's one small subscription you didn't even realize was auto-renewing. You'll begin to see what I call the emotional trail of money. Not just what you spent, but why. I felt tired. I felt stressed. I didn't want to feel left out. I was avoiding something. You'll discover that your spending is never just about dollars. It's about decisions. And decisions come from beliefs. The power of the pattern. Now here's where it gets powerful. When you track for 7 days, you start to see a pattern. Not just in money, but in mindset. You realize what triggers impulsive spending. You realize when you're most thoughtful with money. You realize who influences your financial energy. That moment, when a purchase goes from automatic to intentional, that's the beginning of freedom. Because financial freedom isn't just about making more, a 0.5. It's about leaking less. Make it visual. Want to go further? Make your log visual. Use 2 highlighters, one color for spending that aligns with your values, one color for spending that came from impulse or emotion. Just two colors, no shame, no guilt, just clarity. Build a habit, not a burden. After the 7 days, you can stop or continue. But now, you'll never look at money the same again. And if you do continue, you'll begin to develop one of the most powerful habits any financially free person has: strong, conscious spending. Because you're no longer just swiping cards, you're making choices. You're May point fives. And choices build character, and character builds wealth. Jim's reminder. Jim Rohn once said, "Emphasis level strong, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment." This 7-day challenge is a small discipline, but it's a bridge, a real one, that takes you from confusion to control, from avoidance to awareness. So if you want to be free, stop fearing your numbers, start tracking them, gently, patiently, with curiosity, the invitation. So here's your action. Today, open your Notes app, or grab a journal, title the page, 7 Days of Money Awareness, and write your first entry tonight. Just one day. That's how it begins. Because clarity is no longer optional, it's essential. You can't fix what you won't face. But when you face it, with honesty and intention, everything begins to shift. Remember, emphasis level strong begins with awareness. Let's start now, together. Let me ask you something simple. What do you do for just 1 hour a week that your future self will thank you for? An hour at the gym builds your health. An hour with your partner strengthens your relationship. But what about your financial life? Are you spending even 1 hour a week on the money that will shape your freedom, your choices, your peace of mind? If the answer is no, don't feel bad. Most people don't, not because they're lazy, but because no one ever showed them how to build wealth through rhythm. Jim Rohn believed in the power of rhythm. Small efforts, repeated consistently, are the building blocks of extraordinary freedom. So today, I'm inviting you to make a shift from passive hope to active habit. Why 1 hour? Because 1 hour is doable. It's not overwhelming. You don't need a spreadsheet. You don't need an MBA. You don't even need to be good with numbers. You just need intention. 1 hour is all it takes to plant seeds that grow into financial confidence. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing something that moves you forward. Week after week, month after month. What do you do in that hour? Let me break it down. Here are 5 powerful things you can rotate through each week in just 1 hour. 1. Review your past week. What did you spend money on? What surprised you? What worked well? What felt impulsive? Don't judge, just observe. Jim said, emphasis level strong, make measurable progress in reasonable time. And that begins with reflection. 2. Forecast the week ahead. Look ahead. What's coming up? Any big expenses? Any chances to save? Any temptations you can prepare for? We don't stumble into freedom. We design for it. 3. Learn something new. Read 5 pages of a personal finance book. Watch a YouTube video on investing. Listen to a podcast about mindset. It doesn't have to be intense, just consistent. Because every new idea expands your options. 4. Talk about money. Have a conversation with someone you trust, your partner, a mentor, even just journaling with yourself. Ask, what's feeling good? What's feeling unclear? What am I avoiding? Because money grows best where there is communication, not silence. 5. Take one tiny action, cancel a subscription, set up autosave, check your credit report, send that invoice, organize your receipts. Just one thing. Each week, it builds momentum. Make it sacred. Here's the key. Block the hour in your calendar. Same day, same time, every week. Light a candle, make a tea, put on soft music, make it a moment you look forward to, not dread. Call it your money hour or your freedom hour. Because that's what it really is, a weekly act of self-respect. You'll begin to feel different. After just a few weeks, you'll notice a shift. You'll feel calmer, more informed, less anxious. Even if nothing changes in your income, something changes in your posture. You'll stand taller, you'll speak differently, you'll begin to trust yourself. Because now, you're not saint working for money. You're building a relationship with it. Jim's wisdom. Jim Rohn once said, "Success is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is the natural consequence of consistently applying the basics." 1 hour a week, that's a basic. And it compounds, quietly, powerfully. Because while others are reacting to life, you're designing yours. One reflection, one decision, 1 hour at a time. Let's begin now. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for more income. Don't wait for a crisis. Pick a day, pick a time, commit to your first hour this week. You don't need to be ready, you just need to begin. And in that first hour, ask yourself, emphasis level strong, what can I do today that will make money feel less like a monster and more like a mirror? Because your financial future is not written in a bank statement. It's written in your habits. And habits are born in hours, starting now. Let's take a breath, a deep one, in and out. Because what we've just explored isn't just a strategy, it's a shift. A shift in how you see money, a shift in how you see yourself, and maybe, just maybe, a shift in how you define freedom. This is not about money. If you've made it this far, you already know the truth. This isn't about money, it's about meaning. Money is just the mirror. It reflects your values, your discipline, your fears, your dreams. When you look at your finances, you're not just seeing numbers, you're seeing who you are becoming. That's why this message matters. Because financial freedom isn't something outside you, it's something inside you. And if you're willing to slow down, to reflect, to rebuild, you can change your life. Remember where we started. We began with a question. Do you feel peace when you check your bank account? Do you feel safe when you think about your future? For most people, the answer is no. But here's the good news. You don't need to stay there. You can change. You can rebuild. You can design a life that feels light, calm, intentional. And you don't need to wait for permission. You just need to take the first step inward. The pillars that set you free. We explored Jim Rohn's philosophy, not just to admire it, but to embody it. We talked about the 5 pillars. Change your mindset. Invest in yourself. Build multiple streams of income. Value your time. Live below your means. These are not rules. They're not restrictions. They're invitations. To slow down, to simplify, to choose who you want to be. Because the moment you begin, really begin, everything changes. The actions that anchor it. Then we gave you 3 simple practices. You don't need a finance degree. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to show up. 1, define what freedom means to you. Put it into words. Own it. Track your money for 7 days. Shine light on your habits. No shame, just clarity. Carve out 1 hour a week to reflect, to learn, to act. That's all. That's enough. Because those small rhythms create big momentum. What Jim would tell you if Jim Rohn were here, he wouldn't speak loudly. He wouldn't tell you to hustle. He'd look you in the eye, smile gently, and say something like, "Don't point 5. You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction right now. And that's all I'm asking of you today. Don't try to leap. Just lean in. Open your journal, revisit your notes, rewatch this video if you need to. But don't just think about it. Do something with it. Call to inner action. This is your inner call to action, not one that comes with applause or likes or validation, but the kind that comes when you sit quietly with yourself and whisper, I am ready. Ready to stop avoiding, ready to stop performing, ready to stop waiting, and ready to start becoming. That's what freedom really is. A quiet decision to no longer be a stranger to your own life. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not late. You are exactly where your next chapter begins. One final thought. Before we close, I want to leave you with this. You don't owe anyone an impressive life, but you owe yourself an honest one. And financial freedom is not about impressing anyone. It's about aligning your actions with what your soul truly values. You already have what it takes: the wisdom, the strength, the potential. Now, give yourself the gift of beginning. Because if you do, in 1 year, you'll be amazed at the life you've created from just one decision: to live with intention, to choose your own path, to rewrite your relationship with money. That is the path of Jim Rohn. That is the path of freedom. And now that path belongs to you. Walk it with courage. Walk it with grace. Walk it with your eyes open.